Hi, good morning. Welcome to LoveBabz, LoveTalk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. It's somewhere around 9 o'clock in the AM. You're listening to us on 103.5 WNHH. We're live streaming Facebook, YouTube, X, and wherever else Harry got us. You can always go to newhavenindependent.org and click up on the left-hand icon, and you can watch live and listen, or just listen and not watch. Your preference. I love that you can watch radio these days. Woo, it's Tuesday and it's cold. It's very cold today, boys and girls. And I'm telling you, 24 hours in the world can make a huge difference. So much has gone on in the last 24 hours. It's a little dizzying. Right now it's very, very cold. It's 39 degrees, and then you throw in the wind chill. Ugh. And the rain is coming back on Thursday, just in case y'all feel a little dried out. Rain is coming. The rain is coming back. Let's see. The bridge that went down in Baltimore this morning, like 1:30 this morning. You know, that's everybody's worst fear. Like when you drive on bridges, that's the worst fear. Are people coming into the Why are people coming into the waiting room? Why? What is happening? We don't go on till 10. I guess they're not on until 10. So I don't know why people are coming in. She's not on until 10. I don't know why she's so early. Hey, Laura, you're not on till 10. I don't think she can hear me. Uh, Not till 10. Anyway, 10:15. I say that in the people get nervous. Oh, uh, anyway, I got distracted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to direct traffic at the same time. Uh, I think people get excited and they just, they know I'm on for 2 hours, but you know, that's not it's all right. She can hang out in the waiting room. She can go do other stuff. You want to log in and make sure your stuff is working. So as I was saying, 24 hours makes a big difference in the world. I mean, so much can happen. So there was a bridge that got hit, I believe, uh, by a barge, in Baltimore, and people were on the bridge. Cars were on the bridge. It was 1:30 in the morning, so it wasn't like, high traffic at, you know, uh, in the afternoon or some such thing. So it's the Francis Scott Key Bridge. So a ship was going and collided into it, crashed into it. And so they're looking for as many as 7 people after a major bridge in the port was struck by a container ship. It's still an active search. So, they've got divers, and so far 2 people have been saved from the water. And I don't know what that does to you, being on a bridge and crashing down. I would imagine it's scary. I'm like, I would imagine, because that's everybody's feet. Like, bridges have that way about them. They have that, but we've been living with bridges forever and ever and ever and ever. So we happily drive across them. But uh some people I know, every time they get on a bridge, they pray because it's tenuous for people. And the bridge is a 1.6 mile long 4-lane bridge. And it went down. And this bridge extends over the Patapsco River and serves as the outermost crossing of the Baltimore Harbor. So it's an essential link to I-695 or the Baltimore Beltway. So nobody on the ship was harmed. So that was fine. Um, so yeah. Yeah. So um uh, yes. So I'm sorry. I'm still directing traffic. Sorry. So, bridges in and of themselves are fearful to people. And so this right here is like the worst nightmare come true. A bridge being bridge collapsing. And I would imagine that people uh, are waking up feeling some kind of way about this. And I guess there's a lot of video footage of this thing going down. We have so many visuals. It's really uh, stunning to see. I was really like, ooh. Uh, uh, so anyway, I, I would imagine, I hope they find everybody that went down. I think that's a terrible, and it's at night too. So it's like 1:30 in the morning or some old mess. And I think people are gonna think long and hard about these bridges. Or at least look out and be like, is there something coming under the bridge? Like, is there a ship? I mean, why would you think about it? It hasn't happened. So now that it has happened, we're all gonna be on the lookout. So a little nerve-wracking for people. And I hope that they can find everybody and rescue them, because I that's just a lot to contend with, you know. And now that it is the light of day, I think it was probably way more easier, uh, you know. And they're still in search and rescue, so that means, when you still doing search and rescue, that means, there's a possibility that people are still alive somewhere, you know, you know. So, and now, they're talking about they got to run all these background checks on the shipping container. Um, because it was en route to Sri Lanka, um, but it was not being piloted by its own crew, but by local pilots who are used specifically to avoid accidents like the one that occurred on Tuesday. So the pilots moved the ships in and out of the port of Baltimore, and the pilots get on board just outside of the local channels, and they take the ships into ports and into outer ports, and they, so to prevent these kinds of things, these folks, this is what all they do is bring ships in, take ships out. You know, so the idea is that local pilots are aware of hazards in each of the rivers and that kind of stuff. So they know the area, they're familiar with the channel. So, but they don't know what the cause of this is. So, you know, so I don't know. Uh, so so one person is being evaluated at the University of Maryland Medical Center, the R. Adams Crowley Shock Trauma Center at the University of Maryland Medical Center received one patient from this incident. They are still in the process of being triaged, evaluated, and there's no further information on their care. So this ship was involved in an incident in Belgium in 2016. Man, they just get all the info. They don't mess around. So this cargo ship had a problem involved in an incident at the port of Antwerp in Belgium in 2016. But the White House is paying attention because there's always this modicum of what if this was terrorist, because we always got to be thinking about terrorism now. I mean, I can't imagine it would be terrorism at 1:30 in the morning. I mean, if you want to kill people, you want to kill as many people as you possibly can. 1:30 in the morning ain't gonna do it. I I don't mean that. I don't mean that with humor. I mean that with if these are terrorists, they are terrible terrorists. Although collapsing a bridge is terrorizing because people feel some kind of way about a bridge. I'm not suggesting it's terrorism. I'm suggesting that you have to think about terrorism when these kinds of things happen, even though it could just be human malfunction and just human error. So I mean, we are in this age since 9/11. Everything we think about, everything that happens, we have to think about, oh, is this, we have to run it through its paces, you know, and and so now you got to worry about the water temperatures and how long people can survive. The temperatures in the water is between 46 and 48 degrees. That's what it does to your body, what it does to your brain. People could swim if they can swim, and it's dark. That part, it's dark. So they're using all the technology, the drones, all of that to pay attention to what is to look at the area in ways that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to look, which is a good thing. So technology can be useful. It can be absolutely useful. So that's all I know on the bridge situation in Baltimore. My friends in Baltimore have checked in on Facebook. So none of them are harmed. They're all safe. They're all sound. So I'm glad of that because any freak thing could have happened. Uh people could be just in places that they ordinarily wouldn't be just because of a fluke. So fortunately, so far I don't know anybody who was in this accident on the bridge. So the other thing that happened yesterday, I mean, lots of things happened, but these are the things that I'm focusing on. Diddy's Los Angeles house and Miami house was raided by federal agents. And they're searching his house as part of a sex trafficking probe. Interesting. So he wasn't there. He was on his way to the Caribbean. So he landed in the Caribbean. And his sons got picked up at the house in LA, I think. So I don't have a thought about this yet. I'm gonna wait until all the facts come in. Only because, I know something about human trafficking and the way, and sometimes things ain't what they seem. And that does not mean I side with human traffickers. That just means I just want to hear all the details. I don't want to rush to judgment. I mean, when the feds come for you, they come for you. They pretty much have a strong case, but not always. Sometimes the feds get it wrong. So, and human trafficking is serious to be playing around, right? Like I don't, if he is into that kind of thing, he gets what he gets. But I just want to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. That's it. I don't those of us who spend our lives and time raising awareness around this issue, we're not going to get hyped up about this until we get some stone cold facts, because we deal with this on a regular basis. And, this is celebrity foolishness, right? So I don't know what this is until I know what it is. I know that human trafficking is going on right this very moment in this very city in which I live in. I know that. And I wish I could get people to be equally as excited about the eradication of in town human trafficking as they are about, because we can do both. You can be excited. You can want to see the eradication of human trafficking at that level, but you also got to want to see it end at this level, like in your neighborhood. That's the point that I really want to make. So I don't know what the facts are. I want to wait for the facts, because I just feel like the media, the manipulation of the media and getting us all wrapped up in things before we know anything, it's just an exhaustion, you know. And honestly, it took 10 years for people to wrap their brains around R. Kelly. It took them 10 some odd years. It took them a long time to get to figure out that R. Kelly was trash, you know. I'm just saying. Um, I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. So I just want to wait until we have more information. That's all. I'm always standing with women, always, and I believe women. I'm gonna believe women. You know. So that's where I'm at. You know. So I know people are weighing in on about this bridge thing. They're not afraid of a lot of natural disasters, but a bridge, you know, a bridge. I'm telling you, this bridge falling is on people's nerves. You know, uh, that's how I feel. I feel like that's that's uh that's the biggest concern, that people are gonna. And there are bridges in the world. I believe there's a very famous bridge in Florida somewhere. It's a very long bridge, and you could pull over and have somebody drive you across it, because it's nerve-wracking to people, and it's a long ride, and people can't do it. So you could pull over and have somebody drive you across, and then say back and forth. You know what I mean? So I think that's a wonderful a service, because I think if you get on that bridge and you panic, that's a pileup on the bridge. Do you understand? That is a pileup on the bridge. So better you let somebody else take the drive. If you could be the passenger, and maybe you could sit and close your eyes, or sing a dandy little tune or something, because it would scare you, you know. I'm not moved by bridges one way or the other. Like, I don't have a fear of bridges, you know. Actually, when I'm driving across the bridge, I think it's beautiful to do it, but I also understand the fear of it. I do. I understand the fear of it, because if that joker go down, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go down with it and figure out how to get out of your damn car. You know, that's just it. You're just gonna try to figure out how to get out of it. And whew, that's a lot. That is a lot. Anyway, so we'll hear more about it later. We'll hear we'll hear more about it. And I'm just grateful that it wasn't, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm glad it wasn't some time where it was rush hour. That's all I'm saying. And it's tough. It's very, very difficult. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. Uh, yesterday I was talking about Putin and the foolishness of blaming the Ukrainians. So now it gets crazier. So I guess students at UConn, when everybody was all, I'm down with Ukraine, and they had the flags and the ribbons wrapped around trees. So now that Putin has called Ukrainians Nazis or some old foolishness, Nazi things have been showing up, defaced Ukrainian symbols of, uh, mindfulness and memory. And then they're calling Ukraine students Nazis. And at an institution of higher learning, higher education, the fact that you would call Ukrainians Nazis is just stupid. Either you don't know where history falls out at, you didn't learn it. I don't get it. And why is Russia calling Ukrainians Nazis? And where do they get this? Where do they get that from? Somebody educate me. Is there some overwhelming amount of Nazis in Ukraine? I'm just trying to understand this leap between Ukraine and Nazis. And why are people going with that? Maybe I'm missing something. Did the majority of Nazis come from Ukraine? I'm just trying to understand the where the Nazis come from, because they keep saying it like they got some knowledge of that. So I was like, I never heard that, but doesn't mean it's not true, you know. Oh, they have a Nazi. But but they don't have a Nazi problem. That's Putin saying they have a Nazi a Nazi problem, which is not the same thing as having an actual Nazi problem. Ah, oh my God. So he's blaming the radical Islamists, but accuses Ukraine too. But first he was like, no, it's not Ukraine. It's not them. It's not the terrorists. It's Ukraine. Listen, he gets points for being single-minded. You know, so now he actually is blaming ISIS and Ukraine for the Moscow concert attack. I don't know. I I could be wrong, but that president of the Ukraine doesn't strike me as somebody who would align himself with terrorists. They just, you know what they want, Ukraine? They want Russians to go away and leave them alone so that they could go back to the life that they were living of prosperity, peace, and coffee shops. Do you know what I mean? Like the day before Russia marched on them, they were out walking their dogs and their kids, sitting at coffee shops, talking with each other, enjoying their lives. And here come Russia, just stomping on them because I believe he doesn't like what they represent in Ukraine that is not happening in Russia. And the Russian people are miserable. And I think Putin likes them like that. You know, just have them under his thumb and just don't find any joy or happiness because I'm in control and I'm gonna snatch it from you at any turn. Whereas in Ukraine, they were living their best lives. So I don't understand this. I don't know who else in the world is going to believe Nazis. I there's no developing nation, Western world is going to be like, oh yeah, now I understand why you are marching on them and trying to take them over, because you're trying to liberate them from Nazis. I I don't know, Putin. I think you gotta go back to the drawing board on that one, because I don't see the sense of this. And honestly, you just look a little crazy, more crazy than usual, because I don't see Nazis. And if they had Nazis, it's a well-kept secret, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I think, uh so the Russian terror suspects, they hauled them into court. I guess they're the ones with the glass jails, when you come, like a dog cage kind of thing. And so the people that they scooped up, now I'm not convinced that these are the terrorists. I just don't believe that. I think they just grabbed some folks and just said, because this is how this got to go. And maybe some of them are terror. I don't know. I just don't believe that they got them like that. But all right. But they look like they were tortured the whole nine. And I would, if I'm Putin, I'd be asking the question, how did this happen? Like, 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 how come I wasn't paying attention to what's going on in my country that this happens? Because I got all my armies fighting Ukraine, trying to stomp on Ukraine. And you stomping on Ukraine, trying to take over Ukraine. You can't take care of Russians. How are you gonna take care of the Ukrainians? I I I mean, I don't know I don't know what the end game is here. I don't know what you think is gonna happen. You can't feed your own people. Like, your own people are struggling. And you're gonna take over a whole other country and do what to those people? Wipe them out? Go the genocide route? I'm just trying to understand what the thinking, like, I'm trying to understand what the land grab is about, except to insert yourself in that part of the region so that you can march on the neighboring countries. That's this is how I see this. So you could march on the neighboring countries, and so some of these neighboring countries are already NATO folks, some of them anyway. So, if you march on the ones that are NATO people, then the rest of the world gonna have to come down on you, because that's how this works. NATO is like a gang. Everybody got, if you get membership in, you got protection. That's how gangs work. I don't know. I'm baffled. 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 So, uh, oh, uh, to meet with senators to discuss deals in the College Athletics and Compensation Act. 11:30, March 27th. That's Wednesday. Is that tomorrow? That's tomorrow. All right. I can make that. I don't got no place to be. Oh, actually, I do. All right. Okay. Oh, yes. I guess I can make that. I want to hear about this. Then I'll go to the gym. Then I'll go to the gym. I, I'm this has been a very distracting hour this morning. Directing traffic and answering questions to people. It's been a little distracting, and so when I go back and listen to the show, I'm gonna be annoyed because I'm distracted. That's just how it is. The people. I don't know. I guess I do this so well that people just think I could just do this so well. Answer emails, answer texts, all while I'm on the air talking to people. I'm doing the best that I can. Listen, doing, doing the best that I can. I tell you what did bring me a little bit of a modicum of interest. This piece on by Tom Breen over at the New Haven Independent, that they're going to add a health and wellness supervisor to the police department. And I didn't read any of their comments yet, but I would admit, and I've been saying this since the beginning. I think I was saying this since I was a police commissioner 20 some odd years, damn near 30 years ago. I think the people that have the most stressful jobs ought to have access to the most mental health care. Like that should just be built in to the job, and a requirement as a part of the job that if you are in the protective services arena, police, fire, all of that, that you have to you have to if you have to take care of them, you know. Uh and I think they need to have somebody who tends to this directly. I think it just makes sense. Why wouldn't we want our protective services, the services that protect us, that have the most mental health care, wellness care, so that they can be optimum in their jobs? Who is against that? Who? Who is against that? I don't understand that. I mean, there's always, these whining ass people on the New Haven Independent site, that just I don't know if they think deeply about things or they don't think deeply about things, but they're just kind of reactionary, you know. But I do think I do think that we should that I think this is a good idea. Now, will it be effective? I have no idea. It can't just be in title only. That they have to be able to be able to implement some standards and procedures so that mental health and wellness is carried out. It can't just be, well, we have somebody here, and at every turn, police officers are pushing up against what is provided. That makes no sense. Unless the goal is to say, I put this in place, they don't want it, I tried. You see what I'm saying? Like that could be the strategy. And if that's the strategy, that's pathetic. Because I feel like, if the chief wants this, then the chief has to set the example and the tone and say, this is what this is going to be. And if you want to keep these jobs and not threaten them, I don't mean to threaten. I mean to say, listen, your well-being is important to how well you do your job. And if you are out there on these streets struggling in your capacity to do your job, from outside forces, inside forces, internal forces, then you're not going to be extraordinary in your job. You're just not. So I think the chief has to just bring the hammer with this and say, this is mandatory. And then you got to have a conversation with the union saying, we want the best officers that we can train and put out here on these streets to protect and serve. And this is what is required to do that. And the unions have to buy into that because, the unions are the pushback oftentimes on policies that affect its members. And so once you know that, then you have to say to the unions, I need your help with this. I need you to sort of say, this is a good idea for these officers, and that their mental health participation in anything that we put out there is not going to be used as a whipping stick against them. It's not going to be used as part of internal affairs. It's not going to be used to, to make cases against them, because that's the only way this is going to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work, because I don't see any police officer walking into any mental health facility or time on the couch with a therapist and bleed to death out there and tell everything what's going on, and then don't have the trust, that this information that is shared won't be shared through rank and file. Do you know what I mean? And even though I know therapists already understand privileged information, they already understand confidentiality, still, I think you're going to have to reassure police officers that if they use the services provided, that it will not be to their detriment. It will not be used against them. It's not going to show up in their files. It's not going to show up to their supervisor. If anything, they should get points. And then you start with every recruiting class. They have to have time so that they come in already understanding that they've got to commit to mental health and wellness. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm at with this. So that's what I'm saying, because otherwise it's not going to work. This is not going to work. And I can understand the fear of police officers, because they got to contend with so much. They have to contend with so much. And right now, the public knows that we need police officers, but right now cops are not enjoying good favor, because a few bad police officers has set the tone for the whole career of policing, for the whole profession. And I'm gonna let that sit with good police officers who have allowed that to happen. They've allowed bad police officers to tell the world that this is what policing is. And you do that by being silent. You do that by watching bad apples operate. You do that by sticking to a code of blue that is not in the best interest of you or the communities in which you serve. So it's, so police officers are not enjoying good favor, but they know that they're needed. We know that they're needed. So, but I think good officers can help turn the tides with the public relations image of police officers. Seriously, I think there should be a campaign about, we are the good cops. We're good cops. This is what policing is. This is the face of policing. That needs to happen. But this whole mental health and wellness piece is critical, because if good cops step into it and lean into it, everybody else will lean into it. And I don't know anybody who can't benefit from some therapy. I know no one who cannot benefit from therapy from time to time. No one. There's no one on this planet who cannot benefit from therapy. And people who don't go to therapy are fools. What they're saying is, I don't feel good. I'm going to continue not to feel good, and I'm not going to do anything to make myself feel better. So therefore, I'm going to stay out of the therapist's office. I mean, you would never say that about cancer. You would never say that about a toothache. You would never say that about any other ailment. You would never say that. But yeah, and still, it comes to mental health, and people are like, I'm not going to go talk to people. I'm tired of talking. You're not tired of talking to people. You talking to your friends is not talking to a therapist. It's not the same thing. It isn't. A therapist can give you some real tools, some real coping skills. They could give you a whole bunch of stuff to build your treasure chest of how to operate in the world. So that's so I think police officers can embrace this in a way, if they knew that it can't be used against them, it's off the table. Yeah, and you can't renege on that. You can't go back and say if an officer gets in trouble and then you pull up their his wellness file and be like, oh well, this. No, that's got to be off limits under every circumstance. Every circumstance. I don't care. It has to be off limits. I don't care if he's sitting in therapy talking about I hate niggas and I want to kill niggas. Nope, 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 nope. You gotta find another way to go at that. You gotta find another way. You can't use the therapeutic situation to make your case. Mm-mm. And if I'm a police officer, that would keep me out of therapy because I would feel like whatever I say in here is gonna come back to haunt me. And I don't think cops want. I don't even want that for cops. I don't want that for cops. So. But I do think that if you're in these professions, and a lot goes on, it's a stressful job. It's a stressful job. You got to find a way to have mental health and wellness be a priority as part of their job. Part of their job. Not enough to put on the uniform, show up, do your shift, da 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 da. No, you got to check in with somebody on a regular basis. Make that part of the requirement, that so that people can identify stressors early on. So they don't go home and beat their wife. No, they don't go and, kick their dog or, or one kid mouth off too much and boom, 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 they killing them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got to circumvent all these things. That's all I'm saying. That's how I'm framing this. I think it's a good thing. If we could normalize mental health care in this country the way we normalize every damn thing else, we're quick to say have a cocktail at the end of the day, but we're not willing to say spend 30 minutes talking to somebody about what your day was like, aside from your spouse and your friends and all of that. But a person who is trained to sort of listen and hear where the triggers are, and that could help you figure out where the triggers are. Like it's that kind of thinking. It's that kind of mental health wellness that we need across the board. I mean, I think we could absolutely do this in schools. We have so many kids in schools who are wounded, just wounded. Weight of the world, stress, all kinds of things. And we don't address those kids until something happens, until they show up in some traumatic way. And then we're like, oh, now they're at risk. If we treat every kid at risk, if we put therapeutic supports in schools for every kid, affluent, poor alike, everybody's getting some time with a therapist, group therapy, meditation, yoga, all the stuff that we know makes sense, that works, calms people. If we can start the day, not with that damn bell and kids running like crazy, start the day with some mindfulness meditation so they could get used to doing that. If we could serve food in these cafeterias that like are get rid of all that sugary mess, get rid of all the stuff, the all that stuff, you will start to see a shift and a change. We already know this. It's not like I'm making this up and I'm trying to be all granola-y. No, we already know this works. We know it works. We know it. We've seen it. Eastern cultures have been doing this for years and years and years and years, and some of us have stepped into it. If we could get to that thinking, then we could really put a dent in a lot of the things that ail us in schools and communities, and listen, this is just one way to get to the solving of problems. Just one. It is not the only one. I'm not suggesting this is the thing that will solve police brutality and all this, but I think it could make some inroads into how we are in community with each other. I believe it. I see too many angry ass kids on these streets. Angry, just mad. And every kid can't be on the basketball team under the tutelage of a good ass coach, because there's a handful that play on these sports teams, and they have coaches who care about them and that give them the real talk and guide and mold them. The teams can't support the whole school like that, but we could take that model and put it in the whole school so that kids can grow up with a sense of finding peace within themselves. And I think that could work in public, in police departments, fire departments. I would even say public works too. I think public works people, because honestly, the public works people, first line of defense, they come across all kinds of crazy things. They're the first ones to see all kinds of stuff going on, in community. So I think if you're gonna do it and the goal is to do it, then it should be done well. But if the goal is to just put it out there and say, oh well, we attempted it, it didn't work, and then you could just never bring it up again, then that's disingenuous. And I know that strategy too. I know what that strategy is too. Like, see, we tried it, didn't work. Whatever. So, well, the good thing is I got Laura Papano coming on at 10:15, and she's got this wonderful book out, School Moms, Parent Activism, Partisan Politics, and the Battle for Public Education. And I really like her. I got to know her when she was chairing the Longworth Theater board, and I got to know her then. And she's an award-winning journalist, like big time, big award-winning journalist. So I have a copy of her book. Her people sent me over the book, and I have not read it, but I flipped through it. But I wanted to come and talk about, why this book, why now? What was the catalyst for this? What was she noticing, as a mom, as a writer, as a person of the world? Like, what was she noticing? Because before you get to write a book, you have to see some things that like make you go, is that what I'm seeing? And then you go investigate it and be like, you know what? I got to write about this. So I'm anxious to hear her take on education and the state of public education and politics, and why are we having such a hard time with it? Like, why are we not educating children well? Why are we not doing that? Why are we banning books? And why are we being, and why are people pushing back on this, prayer business? And I don't know what to make of this moment, except to say, this is, we're at the crossroads of moving forward, to move this country forward, and this is the growing pains for that, this moment that we're in, that if we could push through and prevail, that we can put this behind us and be about the business of educating our kids. But then you got, these governors in Mississippi and Alabama putting in these ridiculous kinds of laws, enacting these laws that are, I don't know what this is. Like, do you really want your state to be the state of the stupid? I'm just trying to understand what that thinking is. I don't, and I don't really care enough to dive deep into that, but Laura Papano has. So I want to talk about parent activism, because there are some parents out there on the front lines that are about this work. And I want to hear what she has to say about this. I want to talk about how she thinks about this book banning mess. I've never seen anything like it. Well, I mean, we have seen stuff like it, under the Third Reich. We've seen we've seen this under the Third Reich. I think that's the last time I knew anything about people banning books, So I'm just challenged. I'm challenged by the Christian nationalists. I'm just challenged by all of it. But as I said, I do believe we are at a crossroads, and I'm at the place where I think there is a tipping point. I think there really is a tipping point. But these states, Florida and Mississippi, Alabama, and all these other places. So I'm gonna take a break, and when I come back, Laura Papano will come into the room at 10:15, and I think we'll have a really good conversation. And I'll be glad to see her. And she'll be at the New Haven Public Library, I think, later this evening too, talking. So anyway, I'll be back.